Good morning, everyone. This is Financial Literacy 101. There's never be a time that I will tell you to stop investing, but now the way that the market is moving, we understand that the stock market has taken a huge hit. And for quite some time now, I've been focusing more on my political commentary. But again, I'm going to always give you guys the financial literacy when it comes to investing overall. Now, when it comes to option trading, ladies and gentlemen, we must understand that option trading is a contract giving the buyer the right, but not the obligation to buy it in the case of a call or sell, in the case of a put. We're just going to basically go over the basic definition like we always do. The underlying asset at a specific price on or before a certain date, okay? Then next, what is option trading and how does it work? Option trading is how investors can speculate on the future direction of the overall stock market or individual securities like stocks or bonds. This is the very important part about how I believe at the current time, you should stop call options. Stock call options mostly focus on put options, short term. Now, when you're talking about long-term call options, like 2 or 3 years, that's more financially feasible in order for you to get a return on your investment. But if you're talking about anything short-term, you need to cover your calls first and foremost. Now, whoever's not covering their calls, it's going to be more risky for you than not. And I'm going to give you an example of my portfolio, how I did not cover a call that I spent over $1,000 on. And ladies and gentlemen, by this Friday, I will be losing $1,000 simply because I did not cover my NEO option, okay? It also states here that option contracts give you the choice, but not the obligation to buy or sell an underlying asset. Let me move on. Now, here is my portfolio on Robinhood. It has not been doing well. I'll give you the 1 year overall average, as you guys can see here. I'm down around $11,500, okay? But today I'm going to mostly focus on call options, okay? Mostly call options. I'm going to show you why I made the largest mistake financially next to doing a call option on Tesla where I lost $10,000. This is not a channel where I like to lose money, but I like to give you those examples so you don't make the same mistakes that I had. Now, I made this option I bought this option about a year ago, okay? About a year ago. It says date purchase September 3rd, 2021. And as you sitting right here, family, this option expires on Friday, and I would have lost $974. Now, the major reasons for this is one, the whole stock market took a tank. No one knew that we was going to be in a recession. Hey, it is what it is. Secondly, I did not make this a covered option. If I made a covered option, I probably could have got out of this a lot earlier and maybe taken a smaller loss or even broken even. But again, ladies and gentlemen, at that point, at the point I am now, this is going to expire out of the money. You see the market value? The market value is at $1. Yep. For an option that cost me, almost $1,000, I'm going to potentially make $1, but most likely EOM, expired out of the money. That's exactly what I'm referring to. Because of the current market conditions, ladies and gentlemen, I don't advise you guys buying call options right now. I would advise you guys to do short-term put options, okay? And as we get more into the market and we look at these things and we see how some are bullish and some are bear. Bullish meaning that the prices of those options are going up, or the individual stocks of them going up. And bear, someone's referring to bear market, referring to a stock price going down. So we look at these particular stocks, as you can see here, family, Zscaler. These are not stocks that most beginning investors actually look at. Maybe you're familiar with DocuSign because you use that to buy a house or in business or something like that. But look at the price of these. You have to understand how call and put options work in order to make any of the money. And then most likely you want your call or put options to be covered, because when you cover your options, guess what, ladies and gentlemen? It's like ensuring that you're going to make some sort of profit from it. In order for you to cover an option, whether it be put or call, you need at least 100 shares of that particular stock. Let me show you what I'm referring to, okay? So I'm gonna go back to my portfolio, okay? And we're gonna scroll down here, and I'm just gonna look for the amount of shares here on my left, right? And this is for you to qualify to cover your options. So take, for instance, this stock that I have right here, Biotherapeutics. If you come down here, you see the amount of shares that I have. I have exactly 100 shares of this particular stock, meaning that I can go on the option trading platform within Robinhood and either do a call or put options and cover it because I have over 100 shares, okay? So in order to cover your options, whether they be call or puts, you need at least 100 shares of that particular stock, if that makes sense to anybody. So let's move on to some stocks that you guys may not be watching that could be profitable for you, okay? So we see the tickers here. We're not going to really go through this too in depth, but I want you to see how we have the expiration date here in this column, the actual bid price, the midpoint. Now, the midpoint is another indicator, is another analysis that when you're looking at certain options, if I were to buy an option in Bior, B-I-O-R, we're looking at what they call the Greeks, okay? It's important for you to understand the Greeks because the Greeks is information that gives you when that particular stock is what they call time decay, when that stock becomes less profitable. So that's very important too for you to understand these particular things, okay? Guys, if you have any questions, please leave those in the chat. I will address them as I go along with the video. Now, some of these right here, like the notable call activity of DraftKings. DraftKings has been doing fairly well. Let's look at DraftKings very quickly. They've been doing fairly well in both markets. Let's just see how they've been performing in the past year or so, okay? So we have them in a pre-market here. They're up around almost 1% in the pre-market. In the past week, DraftKings has been up 13%. If you notice, I'm not so much focused on the dollar amount because, again, when investors looking at stocks, they're basing their investment choices and how they're investing based upon percentage, okay, which equals dollar amount. Because any day investors, any swing traders, what they're looking at the percentage that they have made that day, that week, that month, or in that quarter. So this is very important that you don't really focus on, oh, I only made $2 per share. But that's the thing. Are you buying in volume? Are you buying over 100 shares? Are you buying over 200 shares? Because some people may take their yearly bonus from their job. They may take their tax return and invest largely in a stock that has been performing very, very well. And I always tell people, if you're a novice or a beginner investor or even an intermediate investor, the thing you want to do, family, is invest in ETFs, okay, which is exchange traded funds, which invest in a basket of stocks, a variety of stocks within the same sector, like blue chips, technology and things of that matter. You will invest in stocks like that. Or index funds, okay? You have a low expense ratio, meaning that it doesn't cost you that much to operate and own that stock. And they have been traditionally returning anywhere from 7 to 10%. Some people look like, when they're talking about investing, that is gambling. No, investing is not gambling. This is based upon mathematical probability and the way that a company is actually running itself. Gambling is by chance and luck. There is some algorithms within that, but it's more statistic and analysis when it comes to investing. And then again, you can just probably make a bad investment. That's just what it is sometimes. Like me, I've only lost 11 grand in the 15 years that I've invested in the stock market. And that's actually doing very, very well, because when I look at the plus side of things, I probably made 3 or 4 times that amount. Okay. Living very well when it comes to investing. So I don't feel bad about the 11 grand that I lost, because if I can track how much I lost, believe me, I'm tracking how much I've actually gained. Now, DraftKings, that I was saying before, this is probably one of those good stocks you can do a long-term call on in a very short time put. But DraftKings has been doing very well, even though inflation is up, even though we're in recession. Guess what? DraftKings is still doing pretty good. Let's continue on with DraftKings. In the past month or so, it's only been down 2.63%, only at 48 down per stock. The past 3 months, look at DraftKings again, up 33.18%. And I always tell people, a great indicator of a stock is that stock continuously performing at 20% or better. That is phenomenally well. I should have bought DraftKings a long time ago. And I think DraftKings will continue to grow. Now, in the past year, DraftKings has been down 72.26%. And we're going to look at it over the 5-year time frame here. So they came out in 2019, so they haven't been around that long. I'm just going to look at their peak here in March 19, 2021. What a significant time. What a significant time. Almost 1 year into the pandemic, DraftKings was up to $71.75. And that's why I'm telling people right now, if you're going to do a call option, this is mostly an option geared video right here, family. If you're going to do a call option on DraftKings, for an example, DraftKings is just the example, you want to do a very long option. Okay, so we're going to get right into that. I'm not going to buy an option, but I'm kind of walk you through the steps here. So, and this is on Robinhood, and most platforms are kind of mimically the same, so you can kind of get the drift. So we're doing a call option, and you see at the top left here, we see buy, sell, call, and put. So I'm going to keep it on buy. I'm going to keep it on call, which are the highlighted ones. The most important thing here is the expiration date. Now, this is expiring this Friday. So that's a very, very risky short-term option. So I'm going to go all the way out. Guess what, family? This goes all the way out to January 19th, 2024. That means because it's so far out and you have the propensity, you have the opportunity to actually make money off of this, the options are going to call you a lot more money than usual, okay? So another thing that we're going to look at is a probability volatility, okay? So we're going to drill this down just a little bit. And we're looking at the implied volatility. So this is an indicator that will allow you some information that this particular option will actually end you with money or end you without money, meaning that this option will increase in value or decrease in value. So that's just one indicator. And then the most important is the Greeks right here, family, right at the bottom. These are indicators of time decay. There are certain ones that some people focus on, like the gamma. Some people like to do the rho and the theta. But again, I've done a video on this. I may do another one on this, but we won't break this down right now. But nonetheless, you want to look for a very long call if you're trying to do call options right now. In my opinion, do not buy call options right now unless you have some insider knowledge. You've been really gearing down with the analytics of a particular stock, and you just know it's going to go up here in the next week or 3 months or so. Other than that, most of these stocks, you should be looking at puts, because as I showed you here, family, not that one. Here we go. Today's bearish activity. These are the ones that you may be more familiar with. And it's funny that Enphase Energy is on this list because I actually bought my solar panels from Enphase Energy. They're one of the leaders of solar panel installations next to Tesla, okay? Because Tesla is more high-end, but they're not as efficient as Enphase if you do your research. Some of these you may or may not know. Haynes Celestial Group, notable put activity, mean that you can actually make some money on this company actually doing bad, okay? So that's what put options are essentially, and you are banking that stock is going to do bad or is going to decrease in value over the current time, okay? And then we have some value signaling, meaning that the stocks are going to swing largely in one direction or another. These are the ones that day traders actually watch because they deal in large volumes. Because majority of day traders, when I was a day trader, I would probably make 1 to 3 trades a day. Would it be sell or buy? And we're buying large volumes of stocks. I'm talking about 100 shares or more, most likely. Okay. Unless the stock is, $200 or $300 per share, then we're mostly looking at any 50 shares or more. Okay. Because you want to make a substantial amount of money. And then even throughout the day, you're kind of just looking at it, but you're only making about 1 to 3 trades a day. It depends on where you are when it comes to day trading. Okay. We have Colgate Palmolive, Wide Open West, and engaging volatility, meaning these are very, very risky. It states here that the volatility index has been in negative territory all day today. So these are some of the ones I kind of go to bar chart. I go to all these different platforms in order to get this information and compile it in order to make a very informed investor decision, and you should as well. Most of these things, family, if you put a little bit of time and effort into it, just to have, to really get good understanding, it's not going to take you no more than 10 to 15 minutes of your day. 10 to 15 minutes of your day can actually have you sitting really fat, happy, and nice. And I tell people this: if you're not making the amount of money that you want to make, then investing and understanding investing is a sure way for you to supplement your income, right? Because I was just looking at my portfolio and I had some dividends come in. And I don't just use Robinhood, by the way. I use Wealthfront, I use WeBull, I use Charles Schwab. And a lot of these investments accounts, I probably should compile them so I have more shares and more liquidity within those platforms. But nonetheless, these are ones that I've built up over time and kind of switched because of the different investment tools and analytics that they potentially offer. Now, Robinhood is kind of my training platform that I use here on YouTube. But most likely, I like WeBull and Charles Schwab because of the integrated analytics that they have. And also, Thinkorswim is actually a good platform. If you can understand Thinkorswim, you take a couple of training courses, then you can easily become a power investor and understand these things very easily. I don't understand why investing videos and information is not as tantalizing and entertaining than other videos that we watch to entertain ourselves, because this is the difference between you driving in a Honda Civic and a 5 Series BMW. This is the difference between you driving in a Prius that someone hand me down that you probably really didn't want, or you driving in an E-Class Mercedes or S-Class Mercedes. That's the way I look at it. I'm not just saying that you want to upgrade your car. I'm just saying you may just want to upgrade your lifestyle. That's all I'm stating. This may be the difference between you living in a 1-bedroom apartment versus a 2-bedroom condo that you're paying for, or a townhouse or a single family home. That's the difference in investing for me, that it gives you more room, more opportunity, more chances to do better financially, so you do better in your everyday life and you live a lot better as well. Maybe you want to upgrade the type of food because you can't go to Whole Foods, or you can't order and shop things organically. You want to do better in all aspects of your life, right? You don't have the room in your finances to buy better books, essentially. So these are the things I kind of look at when I look at investing. When you make more, you do more, and you do a lot better, okay? So with that being said, we're going to move on to the next segment of my video for you guys who's just for the investment. I understand if you're leaving, but we're going to just kind of run through the news. Every now and again, I like to run through the news and kind of give my personal take on what the hell is going on in the world, okay? So a lot of people may or may not like that. But again, are you guys familiar with what's going on in the Ukraine and Russia? Are you guys still familiar with that? Did you guys know that a full-blown war is going on? And like, the only way you're going to get the news about Ukraine against Russia, if you go on news platforms like Google, Yahoo, CNN, like, it's not even being publicized like it once was. But there's a full-blown war going on in Ukraine. And a lot of people like myself is like, I don't care, right? Because it really does involve me. The only thing I don't like is the killing of innocent people. But at the same time, it's 2 European countries going at war with each other, all right? And what's significant about this one particular story, as a lot of countries are assisting Ukraine against the fight against Russia. There was, I think, Russia for quite some time was targeting the nuclear plant in Ukraine, which will cause a large nuclear fallout. I know Russia knows about this because they're one of the nuclear powers of the world, that if they somehow break the integrity of that nuclear facility power plant, that there will be a lot of nuclear waste and that people will have to evacuate the cities and towns and states that are near that nuclear plant. And that place will be uninhabitable for like 100 years, okay, until the radiation's level essentially die. And it takes time for radiation to essentially dissipate to a point where people and plant life and animal life can thrive and live without it, affecting their everyday lives. And Russia knows that. And so I guess the UN, some other powerful entities somehow got to Russia. So Russia stopped pointing their missiles at power stations against Ukraine because Ukraine got one of their best feats, I think, last week or so. They hit a major target in Russia, but now Russia is now targeting power, which is the smart thing to do. If you know anything about wartime, family, that the first thing that you want to do is kill communications, right? You want to make sure that the opposing forces cannot communicate. Number two, you might want to affect their supply lines. Now, depending on the war strategy that you guys may have, power may be the second thing. So for one, you kill the communication. Two, they have no power to operate their equipment or charge any of their equipment. And then three is going to be your supply lines, your food and water, your guns and bullets, so to speak. Everybody knows this. This is ancient old history. Human beings have been at war with each other for years on come, and this has always been the strategy. Communication, supply lines, energy, and they're kind of simultaneous. They kind of go together with each other, okay? Let me continue on here. As we all know, Queen Elizabeth II has passed away. There has been some people mourning her death. I've seen a lot of people celebrating her death. I've seen countries like Ireland celebrating her death, countries like South Africa celebrating her death. And to bring up South Africa, what I think is important here, because I believe that a lot of foundational Black Americans, we kind of side with the ideology according when it's in conjunction with Queen Elizabeth on how we feel with Julius Malema, okay? And I just want to show a quick clip of him expressing how he feels about the death of Queen Elizabeth, which I think is notable, okay? Freedom of speech, YouTube, freedom of speech.
Mike, without saying to Britain and everybody else who care, we do not mourn the death of a colonizer and a murderer who came and killed our people, and she's wearing proudly a stolen goods on her head. We have nothing to do with the Queen. Lele bolaileng batho ba rena ba utswa di minerale tsa mo Africa, ba utswa di minerale tsa all over Africa. Today people tweet, hey we mourn the Queen. But when Helen Zille tweeted and said that not everything is bad about colonialism, you all said Helen Zille is a racist. How can she praise colonialism? By mourning and praising the Queen, you are celebrating colonialism. You are not different from Helen Zille. We were not colonized by the land called Britain. We were colonized by the leadership of Britain that killed our people. So we must not be asked to do wrong things here. We are very clear. The Queen does not represent anything good. Britain has got a lot of gold, yet they don't have a single mine of gold. Those are stolen goods. We must talk about reparation. We must talk about the return of the gold. We must talk about the return of the stolen diamond, and not these other side issues which are not important to us. How can you be oppressed for so many years? After liberation, you've got nothing to show that we have been liberated. You have no land, you have got no bank, you've got no mine. The only thing you have is a hatred of other Africans. It was this queen who gave us surnames, by the way. This Britain, we did not have surnames. We
Absolutely, absolutely. See, Africa, ladies and gentlemen, first and foremost, is the richest continent in the world with the poorest people. I've done a video on that before. And what's important with the connection of South Africa with Foundation Black Americans is that we have a very similar history. Yeah. We have a very similar history. The apartheid is somewhat similar to slavery here in America. Not as atrocious, but they understand our mindset. And if Foundation of Black Americans would do Pan-Africanism with any African country or countries, South Africa will be number one on the list because they totally understand, especially Julius Malema and his economic freedom fighters. He absolutely understands how we feel in this country about the atrocities and our fight for reparations just as well. His group is fighting for reparations from the UK and the whole Europe continent, how they rob Africa, especially South Africa, all their diamonds and golds and jewels and natural resources. So when it comes to that, family, if anything, I'm pretty sure when it comes to Foundation Black Americans, aka U.S. freedmen, they will probably be the first ones we will tie arms with in the fight for reparations and to take down the system of white supremacy. So that's first and foremost, because we have a very unique history that other countries just simply don't have. Okay. Now, as I'm going through the news here, like I said, we're just going to comment on random things. Of course, there's a lot of things in the news about Queen Elizabeth. We kind of already covered that. Stephen Curry is commenting, talking about, hell yeah, I will play with Kevin Durant again. Because, again, Stephen Curry wants to be looked at one of the greatest players. He want to kind of be up there with Michael Jordan and LeBron James. I think Golden State Warriors, but they have 5 championships now, so they have more. He has one more than LeBron James. But the more that you have, again, he understands that he would trick up that greatest of all time list, the GOAT. Let's see here. We got Donald Trump. He says, I'm not just going to leave. New book reveals Trump vowed to stay in White House. So basically, Donald Trump is stating that as long as he's alive, he's going to continue to run for office. And he's been losing a lot of his support lately because he's kind of been anti-police, anti-guns, right? That statement he made that these gun-toting FBI agents came into my beautiful Mar-a-Lago home and ransacked it illegally. A lot of NRA, a lot of pro back the badge, police lives matter, all that good stuff. A lot of them have slowly been declining their support from Donald Trump. Okay, so I don't know how long that's going to essentially last. Let's see here. Sweden's far right make gains in tightly contested election. Okay, blah. We don't really care too much about that. Again, family, we're just rambling going through the news. If you have any comments, please leave them in the chat. I pop up any notable news stories. Here we go to the U.S. We're focused on the U.S. I mean, a wake-up call, more Republicans are softening their staunch against anti-abortion stance. That's what is going to essentially happen with anti-abortion, is that a lot of these states are going to loosen the noose when it comes to abortion, meaning that they're going to put clauses inside their legislations for their states, even though the Supreme Court has overturned Roe versus Wade when it comes to abortion rights and stating that abortion's rights are not covered under the Constitution. What a lot of these quote unquote red states, they're going to allow females to get abortions if they have been raped, especially if they're underage. Okay. If I don't know. That's the only real thing that I can think they will probably loosen up. If a woman has been raped, that she will be allowed an abortion. That's the only thing I can really come up with, family. Okay. Let's see here. New York woman sentenced to prison over altercation aboard plane. Let's see what that. 5 years in jail for altercation on the plane. That's a hell of a flight. Hope she was in first class. Let's look at this one, family. If something don't pop up in our face, let's see. It says the New York woman has been sentenced to 4 months in prison for interfering with crew members aboard a flight from Dallas to Los Angeles last year and had to be delivered to Phoenix, according to federal prosecutors. They said that Kelly Pachado and another first-class passenger, she was in first class, engaged in intimidating behavior on the flight, and both women had to be removed from the plane after they landed at Phoenix Sky Harbor International Airport. Authorities said that the women each assaulted a passenger during the flight and used racial slurs when a male passenger asked them to stop. Go figure that, family. Pachado also allegedly spit at the man who tried to record the altercation. You know what's funny about spitting on someone? Did you know that law enforcement agencies, they can actually charge you with assault if you spit on someone? Yeah, they can actually charge you with like assault or not manslaughter, assault. The case was investigated by the FBI and Phoenix police, and the two women were indicted for disorderly conduct for verbally and physically assaulting other customers and flight crew members. So they was having a full-out brawl, okay? Probably a nice old Karen bashing. Prosecutors said Pachado, a 32-year-old resident of the Bronx, has been ordered to pay nearly $9,200 restitution to American Airlines as a result of the altercation. Now, if anybody ever heard, I did a video last week about getting bumped from your flight, and I use American Airlines. To me, in my opinion, is one of the most disrespectful airlines, but they have some of the best direct flights to the Caribbean and beautiful countries that we love to vacation in as Americans. Now, again, I'm going to stand behind this. My best flights when it comes to American Airlines has been Delta. The best I've been internationally has been Air Emirates. And second to that, I think, has been Qatar. But I've always just seen the rudest, airline crew when it comes to American Airlines. That's just kind of been my experience. Not personal. I'm literally noticing these airline attendants speaking to customers like very brash, very rudely, very, just kind of with no respect, like just disregard of this. Like, I can't even explain it. Just like, why are you talking to passengers like that? But anyway, that's just kind of my experience that I've seen. Okay. They said Pachado also will serve 3 years of supervised release following her prison sentence. Wow. The other female passenger involved in the incident has pleaded guilty and will be sentenced in November. Okay. We understand that Dr. Oz, he's running, I think he's running for governor or senator or something like that. But he has been accused of a lot of racial epithets or racial underlining of some of his statements of supporting certain people. So Oprah Winfrey kind of, backed Dr. Oz back in the day that he was a reputable doctor, and now he's running for political office. But come to find out, these white people that they put in front of the TV screen, they always have these, racial undertones. I just say that for the most. Let me move on here, family. Let me move on. Okay, in business, Twitter calls Elon Musk's third attempt to scrape acquisition invalid ahead of key shareholder vote. Now, what's funny about Elon Musk, I guess my personal attest of Elon Musk, he's kind of buying his time. He really thought Twitter was worth more than what it was, because I think what he was going to do, he was going to buy Twitter for what, $43 billion, $45 billion. And then one of his accountants like, Twitter's only probably worth like $30 billion. So he's kind of letting Twitter fall a little bit. We can kind of look at their stock here. Let's look at Twitter. Let's look how Twitter was doing. Let's look at Twitter. And you can look at my horrible portfolio at the same time. But we're going to look at Twitter. Again, right now, we're on the news segment, family. We're not really doing the finance. If you want to see the finance part, just kind of scale back the tape here. Let's look at Twitter. Over the past 5 years, if you were to invest in Twitter, they've been up roughly 140%. Okay, in the past year, let's look at Twitter. Twitter has been down almost 34% in the past 3 months, up 10% the past month, down around 6% the past week, up 8%. And into the market is live. Market is live as of 3 minutes. Twitter is down 1%. So Twitter has not been doing that bad as I thought. I don't know what game Elon Musk is paying, but People coin him as a genius because he named the company out of the Nikola Tesla. Bought this company from I forgot where he bought Tesla from. Elon Musk didn't come up with Tesla. He actually bought this company from another billion-dollar investor. Elon Musk, who is a South African, he actually made his claim to fame by being part of the executive party of PayPal. That's where he got his essential riches from, coming up with PayPal. But then he bought Tesla. I forgot the guy's name. You guys probably know. Let's see here. Ford expands hands-free driving to 40,000 Lincoln Corsair crossovers. I'm actually in the market, family, of buying a hybrid SUV. The one I've been looking at very closely is the Lexus 450H, but I looked inside the interior, and compared to my Genesis, it just don't compare. In my Genesis, I have real wood, real leather, real aluminum. And when I look at the Lexus, it has a CD player in it. And I'm like, okay. I can understand the nostalgialistic effect of having a CD player. But family, I can't tell you the last time within the past 10 or 15 years that I bought a CD. And why are we here in 2022 with a luxury car brand like Lexus putting in a freaking CD player? Okay. It bothers me so much. Okay. It bothers me so goddamn much. Okay. We got Donald here. He said, good vibes to you as well. And matter of fact, do you guys mind? I'm going to go over to Lexus. Okay. I want you guys to see this. I didn't even spell Lexus right, but they'll figure it out. I want you to see this vehicle, okay? I kind of want you to see this vehicle. I'm going to blow it up once I get there. If my internet wasn't made by the Flintstones, we'll get there. Look at this. Yeah, of course, Google. But no, we have to look at this, family. As you can tell, this has already been highlighted. I've been looking at this for a very long time. And I'm looking for a hybrid. And it's very important, family, not to buy an electric car vehicle. It's just my opinion. The infrastructure for electric vehicles is not in place right now. What they're trying to do is push this billion-dollar, soon-to-be trillion-dollar industry on the American people to fund the infrastructure. It's kind of like my wife said, in Texas, they build the communities first, then improve the roads. Would that make sense at? You understand the influx of the population of Texas because there's a lot of New Yorkers, there's a lot of Washingtonians from the state of Washington, and a lot of Californians moving to Texas because of the amount of land space, because cheap houses and the infrastructure. And Texas is soon to be the next Seneca Valley, mostly in the Austin area. Okay, you already got Tesla headquarters that moved to Austin, as well as Cisco Systems. No. Is it Cisco Systems? It's one of those large software companies that moved out to Austin, Texas. Correct me if I'm wrong. Okay. So now we're going to look at the hybrid and electric vehicles. The one I was looking at, this one starts around 50. That's the plug-in hybrid. We're not doing plug-in hybrids. And here's another thing, family. If you're going to do a plug-in hybrid, just buy an electric car. Okay. Some people are like, no, I don't mind plugging it at home, but I can still use gas. But my thing is, I do not want anything that I can plug in. I love the fact that I can put gasoline in my vehicle, and my vehicle, just by it running, is charging the battery, and then it switches over to hybrid automatically. I don't have to charge it. Okay. Okay. Let me look at this. We're looking at hybrids. We got the NH hybrid, RH hybrid. We're going to go right over here. I don't like any plug-in hybrids, by the way. Back to what I was saying about the infrastructure being built, okay? Back to what I was saying about the infrastructure being built. I'm trying to look for some interior pictures here on, here we go. This is the one that I wanted, okay? Now, let me show you the interior here. Let me blow this up. Now, family, if we're looking at this vehicle and you see where my cursor is, right? Hopefully you can see my cursor. Let me blow this up just a little bit more. I know you guys looking on cell phones. This is all plastic. Plastic. And here's a CD player right here in the middle. This is all plastic. This is somewhat of an LCD screen with mechanical buttons, which I kind of like, okay? Now, this trackpad has got a lot of negative reviews, okay? I love the dial versus the trackpad. They were talking about people getting into accidents trying to figure out. But again, family, this is not a good look for Lexus, in my opinion, okay? In my opinion, it's not a good look for Lexus, simply because, one, that mainframe, I call it, kind of like where you do a lot of changing the radio, messing with the heat and cooling, just doing all, navigation, etc. It's plastic. In my Genesis, which cost me $65,000, real wood, real aluminum, okay, and it looks sweet, and real leather. So here I am looking for a luxury crossover hybrid SUV. Lexus is probably the closest I'm going to get, and I don't even like the main frame in which I'm looking at. That whole thing is freaking plastic. I was about to say the F word. It's freaking plastic. Go figure that. Anyway, I'm sorry, family. I had to break away from my news. Boy, I tell you, these goddamn Lexus. Donald says maybe a Toyota Prius. Hell no. Dude, I'm a big guy. I'm not rocking a Toyota Prius. I'm not. Okay. He said, I recommend not buying GM and buying Japanese hybrid cars. Yeah, when it comes to vehicles, I'm not one of those red-blooded Americans. I'm only gonna buy American. Listen, family. Yeah, there's only one. It used to be two. There's only one American car maker. Trivia question. Does anybody know who it is? I give you 10 minutes to put in the chat, and I may give you a $50 bonus if you can get it in 10 seconds, and I'll count down. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I got no one to put in the chat. It's Ford. Yup, found on the road dead. Ford is essentially the only American car company. If you look at the amount that I believe this Chinese company has of GM, it used to be GM and Ford. Let me look it up. If you simply type in who owns GM, right? Who owns GM, General Motors? All right. It says, since being top shareholder, these individuals own significant chunks of the company. Maybe I see. Here we go. How much of General Motors is owned by the Chinese? 50%. 50%. 50%. That's what I'm talking about. So GM is no longer American owned, right? You have to share that crown. You have to share that position with the Chinese. See, what I've noticed about the Chinese, they're not doing how they are colonizing the way the British has done, the way that the UK has essentially colonized the world. The Chinese have always been economical. They're going to colonize the world economically, meaning they have cheap labor. They have allowed, kind of like the Russian oligarchs, they have allowed certain people to own billion-dollar businesses to grow that business in order to buy into other countries' businesses when they're doing financially bad. Okay. Now, if I say who owns Ford, we should not see who owns Ford right now. It shouldn't say Chinese. Okay. William Clay Ford, executive chair of Ford Motor Company, is the leading company that put the world on the wheels back in the 21st century. He joined the blah, 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 blah. You don't see Chinese nowhere. Okay. We can look for other questions. It says it's still owned by the Ford family. It says the Ford family only partially owns the Ford company. Non-family members like Joseph Hendrick and Mark Fields now own major shares in the company. But if you notice, they are Americans. They're not the Chinese. So essentially, Ford is the only essentially almost 100% American-owned car company. No longer GM, no longer Chrysler, no longer Dodge. I think Dodge and Chrysler are owned by the Italians under the name Fiat, and I think that changed. So the way we look at car companies, family, you're gonna end up buying a foreign car anyway. I mean, it don't matter what if you're like, oh man, I'm gonna get a Dodge Challenger. Yeah, that's an Italian car. Yeah. So I mean, I understand what you're saying, Donald, but yeah, it don't matter if you're not buying a Ford, then chances are you're buying a foreign car anyway. Okay. Let me move on. 5 things to know before the stock market opens on Monday. We're kind of behind that power curve. Harry Styles' body and soul-bearing performance in My Police. Yeah, we don't care about that. Oh, yeah. Did you know that Cowboy, and this because I'm in Texas, I'm not a Cowboys fan. My Giants won only because the guy missed a field goal. We really need to work on defense, Giants. We really need to work on our defense. That secondary is horrible. The quarterback for the Titans is not even that good, and he was throwing buttons, and we were 2 yards from the defender. The only thing occurred with us is that the field goal kicker shanked it at the last seconds. But I do applaud my Giants offense, okay? We showed some resiliency in those last minute there, but our defense, especially the secondary, oh my God, and our defensive line, we got to get some pressure on the quarterback because Daniel Jones, he was running for his life half the time, okay? But anyway, the Cowboys lost. Ain't nothing new about that. And here's a funny thing that a lot of sports commentators were talking about the game, that Dallas has never beaten Tom Brady. Even when he was at New England, now that he's at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they never beat Tom Brady. And, of course, the star quarterback that they gave over $200 million to, over $134 million, has hurt his thumb. I'm not hating on the amount of money that the brother's making because, brother, make your money all day. I'm out pocket. Well, I am pocket watching a little bit because I'm like, you know what I'm saying? You walk past me, drop $1, I'm going to pick something up, But yeah, but he hurt his thumb. So who knows if he's going to play the next game or not. $200 million man down the drain. All right. Let's see. Intersquare store schedule. We could talk about that. Patrick Mahomes with 5 TDs in the first game without Tyreek Hill. I mean, Tyreek Hill is a Super Bowl champion. He went to the Dolphins to make his money. So I don't know why they're making that a big story. Let's see. Let's go to football. I know a lot of you guys are football. We're just talking about the news, family. See, Donald said I never buy American, especially when cops use them. Okay. I don't know where you're going at with that, Donald, but okay. All right, let's look at this. Let's see. Look at these scores real quick. Let's look at these scores. All right. So the Bills on Thursday night, I know you guys was watching that one. That was a really good game. The Bills beat the brakes off the Super Bowl reigning champions 31-10. Steelers beat the Bengals 23-20. Dolphins beat the Patriots. Tyreek Hill made a difference. Yes, he did. And plus their quarterback, Tagovailoa, 20-7. Eagles beat the Lions by 3. Okay, good. Okay, good job, Hurts. I see you got your first win. Browns beat the Panthers 26-24. And I know that was a really good win for the Browns because they was playing against that old quarterback. What's his name? Number 6 on the Panthers. Forget his name. Damn it. I forgot the guy's name. Anyway, Ravens beat the Jets 24-9. And here's the thing about Lamar Jackson. He said once the season starts, he's no longer going to talk about negotiating his contract. A lot of sports commentators have been weighing in on this, and I agree with a lot of these sports commentators with Lamar Jackson, that Lamar Jackson should just sit out. If he really wants to negotiate, because you got people like the new Browns quarterback who hasn't played a game yet because he still has those fines and restrictions from the NFL because of the alleged rape or allegations he had that he got cleared, okay, in civilian court, but the NFL believes in double jeopardy, so they want to charge him as well and have him to sit out like 11 or 12 games this season. But he had like a guaranteed $200 million. Dak Prescott $200 million. And Lamar Jackson, in my opinion, he's worth that. Because here's the thing. Lamar Jackson is a dual threat quarterback. He can beat you with his arm. He can beat you with his leg. He can beat you with his legs more likely than his arm. But the reason why he can beat you with his arms is because he's so dangerous with his legs. You don't know what the brother's going to do. One hit, one tweak, one wrong movement, and his whole career is jeopardized because he's a dual threat quarterback that mostly depends on his talent in his legs. Even though he has somewhat decent accuracy, he has great arm strength, but when you buckle down to the point, family, if he don't really hone his skills like a Russell Wilson, where Russell Wilson legs get hurt, he can still, drop back and throw pinpoint accuracy passes, then his worth is going to go down. So I believe in a lot of commentators that are stating he should sit out until he renegotiate his contract for that $200 million, just like these other quarterbacks are getting. Okay, that's just my belief. I see the Washington Commanders. I'm originally from Washington, D.C. My son is a Commanders fan. First last year they was Washington football team. Prior to that, they were the Washington Redskins. Some people felt offended. They said it was offending the Native American community, so they essentially renamed them the Washington football team for what was it, 1 or 2 years, and now they're the Washington Commanders. That sounds like a XFL sort of name. It sounds like the CFL name. It just doesn't ring well. That's just my opinion. The Saints beat the Falcons by 1 point. Bears beat the 49ers 19-10. Colts beat, was that in double overtime? That's a tie, the first season in a very long time of 2020. Vikings beat the Packers 23-7. Now, this was a funny game, family. Let me show you really quick. Let me show you. This right here was a funny game because remember during the preseason how, what's the guy's name? I'm forgetting everybody's name. Aaron Rodgers. He was talking about how his wide receivers, his offense need to step up. And if you guys saw the game, he did horribly bad, okay? He even, I think, threw an interception. Matter of fact, let's go ahead and do it. What the hell? Let's go ahead and do it. I have my cigar on deck. I don't know if I'm going to break it open this morning. But let's look at it. Let's see. NFL. Bear with me, fam. We might watch some highlights here. Let's just put in Green Bay Packers versus Vikings. Because you need to see some of this game. It was hilarious to me. Okay, let's look at this, fam. Let's look at this together. You done talked all that trash, Aaron Rodgers. How? Let's look at this. Of course, now my internet want to mess up. Let's see if we can get this popping, though. Let's see if we can get this popping. Give me 1 second with this, family. Give me 1 second. We're going to go back. Here we go. Let's see if we can get this.
Well, this marriage has worked out.
Fair use, fair use.
Stands in with time again. Jefferson wide open, makes the move inside the 20 and
these
down.
Vikings put it in on these Green Bay Packers. Okay. The YouTube gods don't want me allowed to shame the Green Bay Packers. I understand. The YouTube gods do not want me to shame the Green Bay Packers because of Aaron Rodgers. Don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, Aaron Rodgers only won 1 Super Bowl years ago. It's been like 10 plus years, okay? And this year he came out and he's really secretly trying to compete with Tom Brady, which he can't. You cannot compete with Tom Brady. First of all, the guy got, 7, 8 Super Bowls, okay? And he's done it with people you're not really familiar with, especially when he was in New England. Now, when he came to Tampa Bay, he had some really big names behind him. So the first year he did very, very well. Second year, very, very well. And people are believing that this is his last year. Tom Brady is at the season age of 45 years. He is the oldest starting quarterback, and he still look like he's a prime quarterback. Okay, he's doing very, very well. Chiefs crushed the Cardinals 44-21. Patrick Mahomes, even without Tyreek Hill, is doing very, very well. My Giants, once again, in the last seconds, beat the Tennessee Titans because they missed a field goal. And yes, our secondary looks like trash. And then again, we have the Buccaneers at the Cowboys, okay? And I believe this is Sunday Night Football of next week. Tonight, family, we have the Broncos at the Seahawks. We might just watch that one because there's no other football on. But I don't really hear people talking about the Broncos and the Seahawks. It seemed like when Russell Wilson left the Seahawks, nobody was talking about them. Okay, let's see if we can go back and watch some of this. All right. Nope. The YouTube guard says shut me down for today. All right. Okay. I'll let it go. But anyway, family, what's going on, Sonks and Chomps? Nice to see you. You missed a wonderful broadcast, man. We was all over the map today. You know, we talked about finances, politics, and we ended off in sports. I just wanted to chop it up with you guys early this morning. I haven't done one of these in quite some time. I've been very, very busy. When I'm talking about busy, family, to the point where you'll see me go 3 days without a video. And I'm off today from all of my jobs. So this morning, I'm really thinking about enjoying this one right here, which you guys know is one of my favorites. Oh, yeah, this is a favorite right here. A Fat Bottom Betty. It's not a sweet one. It just has a sweet cap to it, essentially. But this is one of my go-tos, one of my favorites. Real smooth. Man, really really nice aroma. Now, if you're ever in a lounge and you're going to purchase one of these or purchase one in general, okay, don't just go inside of the huge humidor and start picking them up and putting your nose all on them, okay? The best thing that you can do if you really want to smell it, you get real close and take a good swift, but don't rub your nose. But you will see people in humidors go like this. Don't put your nose on it and put it back in. You didn't put your DNA, your sweat, your crud, your boogers, your saliva, your snot, all on these very beautiful things here. Don't you ever do that. You just get real close, then you put it back down, okay? And you see how I'm holding it? This is the burn end. So I'll see people pick up from the part where somebody's going to actually smoke from. Don't do that. If you just want to smell it because you may or may not buy it, you pick it up from the part that people burn from, right? And you slowly smell it. You don't, or you don't do, you don't do that. I see people do it all the time. A matter of fact, since we're live here, I feel like I got a couple of more minutes to chop it up with you guys. Now, when it comes to, and I'm going to get up here. Matter of fact, I'm going to get up here. Hold on. I'm just going to show you very quickly kind of the three things that I like. So this one right here, you have a full cut, okay? You have a full cut. You know, you got the button right here, full cut. This is what they call a V cut, okay? You got the V cut, right? It kind of gives you a small slit, okay, in the butt end. Then, which most people should know, is you have a punch, okay? That's a punch. And this particular one I have here, family, I can do different size punches. And then I'm also going to show you a poke, okay? I'm going to show you a poke as well. Let me get this done. Okay, you got the poke here. So you have a small poke on this side. If you see it, now I'll show you the name brand in case you want to pick one up yourself. But on this side, you have a small poke. On that side, you have a large, not a poke, but a punch. My apologies. But the reason why I like this one is because this was made out of metal. I have a little cheap one in there. that's made out of plastic. I love this one because it's wood grain. Some people love a nice set. I also have a Traveling humidor that carries about 5 of them, so to speak. So today, instead of doing a V cut or a full cut, I'm going to do a large punch, right? And I'm just going to put it in there like that. Okay. Circle it around a little bit. Okay. Screw it out. And that's how it looks within. Yep. There it is right there. Now, some people have all these different methods on how they may light one of these. Okay. I see Sancha Chunk said, should I break out the whiskey too or just the stogie? Just the stogie. It's early. It's early. Okay. I got the water here and I had a little bit of coffee. Okay. So I'm kind of amped up because I'm off today and I'm very excited. I work. Shoot, man. I work Monday through Friday. Then I don't, thank God I don't have any more clients financially because I was just working myself ragged, but I'm also a youth football coach that my son, he's on this team, and they go out. Their name are the McKinney Bears, but they actually the Baylor Bears. And last week this came from a Baylor football game. Nonetheless, that's just my life. Now, some people will tell you to burn the ends first, right? So you just take the fire and you burn the ends, and that's to ensure that you get a. Excuse me. Sorry about that, family. Thank you. You burn the ends so you get an even burn. Okay. I've seen some people do that. Then some people, of course, you want to toast the end. Okay. Toast the end, circle of motion to get all of that in there, right? Blow it out, wave it, go back into it. Yeah, I'm showing you all the different things that some people just light it and go. Then some people make sure they get a really good head. They circle it, hold it right here, right? Then they take their fire at a 45-degree angle as they're, inhaling. And enjoy it like that. That's pretty good. Now, a lot of you, if you're getting into this particular genre, it's not that expensive. A lot of people believe that the best cigars are, the Cubans. I've had some Cubans, very, very smooth. I have some in my humidor right over here. Very, very smooth. But there's a lot of other cigars that are smooth as hell. Oh, yeah, that's good. That's good, family. I'm going to show you another thing here. I've never showed this. My wife bought this for me. Hold on. This is kind of my traveling case. Very beautiful case. It's leather, so I know my wife paid a pretty penny for it. And I'm just going to show you this case very quickly in case you want to pick you up one. This is how it looks, okay? If you notice right here, that's to keep the temperature of the case at an optimal temperature around anywhere from 70 to 75. So anytime I carry my cigars in here, what I do is I wet this, okay? And inside of here, you have is it cedar? I forgot the name of it. I don't know if it's cedar or forgot it. But here we go. If you notice in here, it's wood. If you guys can see that, that's wood in there. I forgot the name of the wood, but it always smells great. And again, this is all leather. So you'll have your cigars in here. You will wet this, right? Then in here, you will also have one of those Bovitas that you put the pack in here. You put the Bavita packs in here to keep it at that particular temperature. Again, I put those in there as well. Here, it comes with its own full cutter, all metal. If you see that, all metal. Okay. Very nice. Very nice. I like it. And then, of course, you got to have your lighter in here. Okay. There we go. Very nice that my wife bought me this. I use it whenever I'm going out with friends and we know that we're going to smoke cigars. I also have a traveling case that is a hard case, but everybody are familiar with those. But this one is really nice. You kind of show up at a cigar lounge or something like that. With this, you have your own cigars. You may buy one there. You may be a member where you can bring your own. But nonetheless, these are very, very nice. And again, real leather. Either has a pocket to put other stuff in on this side right here. And again, this is not a promotional video for whatever company that is, but I think she bought that on Amazon. I'm not too sure, but very nice carrying case. Sound Tom says it's my birthday, so I can do whatever until I go to the gym. I'm working a day trading live stream, so it's easy day. Okay. It is likely cedar. Oh, it's cedar. Thank you. Yes, cedar. Did I say cedar or did I say pine? I think I said cedar. It's cedar. Any other wood that carries a scent would transfer to the cigar. You're right. It's cedar. It's cedar. And Stumps and Chumps, if you go back in the video, I kind of, I do financial literacy. That's kind of the name of the channel. But nonetheless, I was talking about call option and put option. So you can look at that as well. We should probably link up too. That way we can talk about some finances. Now, the last feature that I want to show you of this two-hole punch, you got the small punch, you got the large punch. The one feature that I just discovered, right? Once you can make these two flush, right? Now it's flush. You don't see it. Now it's flush. Is the hole punch. Look at that. So what happens is, family, when your cigar gets down here, it becomes very hot in your hand. So what you do is you punch this inside your cigar so your hand doesn't get hot and you can smoke the rest of your cigar that way. And if anybody has smoked cigars before, you understand that when your cigar gets down to the bunt of it, it becomes very strong. Okay, FYI. But yeah. If you have any questions, please leave them in a chat. Donald Rob said, your channel is awesome, bro. I appreciate that. You're going to get a little bit of everything on Financial Literacy 101. I thought about changing the name again, but I might just keep it the same. But ladies and gentlemen, you're going to get financial information. You're going to get political commentary. You're going to get the news like I do every now and again. I just kind of I want to make it a channel where it's geared towards finance and politics, but it's going to end up being everything that you may or may not want. Okay. Because at the end of the day, when you're watching somebody's video, you may admire the information or you may admire the person. Because I admire certain people, but I may not always admire the information. So I get it. Some videos are not for everybody and some people are not for everybody. But nonetheless, I try to keep things passionate and very informative and also fun. I think it's always good to laugh, family. Okay. So happy birthday to Stumps and Chumps. This goes out to you. You guys have a great and wonderful day. And I'm out.